You're listening to DraftKings Network.
Stugotz here. I want to tell you a story. I'm serious here. My wife and my two daughters, they begged me to buy a Peloton. So I bought a Peloton. And then I watched that Peloton sit in my office and stare at me. So you know what I did one day? I looked at it. And so I decided to get off my ass and I jumped on the Peloton because no one else was using it and I paid for it. I mean, so why not? Then I realized eventually that they bought it for me. And I got to tell you, way more challenging than I could have ever imagined. Peloton coaches are walking the walk. I love the coaches. I do the Grateful Dead one. It's fantastic. They have a sub 3-hour marathon runner, military trained athletes, a former college basketball player, and so many other well-rounded coaches on their team. All this experience really shows in their classes, which are never short of challenging, especially for me. So I jumped on it that first time. It was challenging, more challenging than I thought. And then I wanted to beat the bike, and so I kept jumping on it, and I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm the only one who uses it, but again, they got it for me. I mean, I had no idea. That's a little passive-aggressive, don't you think? Find your push, find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com.
Folks, Smirnoff. I love it. Smirnoff knows there's no I in football. It's a we thing, best enjoyed with good drinks and great company. Home or away, we rally together, cry together, and always rally cry together because there's no I in fandom. Smirnoff, the world's #1 vodka, is perfect for easy, delicious cocktails for fans over 21. As the official vodka partner of the NFL, Smirnoff's award-winning taste has been igniting the collective spirit since 1864. Grab a bottle of Smirnoff at your local retailer and head to Smirnoff.com to find recipes of delicious cocktails perfect for game day. Please drink responsibly. Smirnoff, #21 vodka, distilled from grain, 40% alcohol volume. The Smirnoff Company, New York, New York. Please do not share with anyone under legal drinking age.
Welcome to the Big Suey, presented by DraftKings.
Why are you listening to this show?
The podcast that seems very similar to the other Dan Le Batard podcast.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize for that.
In fact, the only difference seems to be this imaging.
I have been tempted in restaurants just walking past tables to grab somebody's fries that if they're just there. That hasn't happened to you guys?
I've done it.
And now, here's the marching man to nowhere, fat face, and the habitual liar.
Dianna, what are you doing right now?
Just now?
Yeah.
My father said, "What are you doing?" I said, "TV." And I took a picture.
Oh, that's cute. Speaking of cute, we have a question for you. Very important one. We're going to put two men on the screen, and you are going to tell us which one looks younger.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about anybody's feelings here. Just give us your honest appraisal.
Dan and Al Golden.
Dianna
The
Russini.
player in the background. Dan looks younger.
Yeah.
So I think you can judge, you can figure out people's ages, I have found, by their eyes. Mm-hmm. The lines around their eyes can usually tell you. And I think Dan has really nice eyelids. They look young.
Is Dan helping his case by casually flexing his biceps right now?
No, I'm
like we wouldn't
I thought he
notice.
was surrender Cobra.
Look, man.
I do the same thing all the time. I'm like, yeah, so the Cowboys are looking for somebody to come over.
Look at that
Dude,
body,
I put like an
Dianna.
hour in the gym in the morning.
Whoa.
I'm going to show this off. Dan's showing it off.
You said you have nice eyelids.
No.
Nice eyelids.
Okay.
Your hair is small.
Did you get a blephaloplasty? Is that what it's called?
I am not comfortable with this group of people objectifying me. I object in 2025 to all of you leering at me and saying I have nice eyelids. You've been fat shaming the shit out of me on television for 20 years.
Well, your eyelids are not fat. I think it's almost impossible to have fat eyelids.
Not true.
So you heard Jess just talk about this eye thing. You guys definitely don't know what she's talking about. I know what she's talking about because I'm going to guess our algorithms on TikTok are the same.
Thank you, Dianna. Save me.
Yeah, women do the same thing. We look at other hot girls, a couple sports things, and beauty secrets. And the biggest beauty secret thing, the trend right now, is you get this surgery. They cut these tiny little like slits at the top of your eyelids, and they pull it back to just give you sort of that Dan youthfulness, where it just
They
just
call it
gives
the
you a
Levitard.
fresher look. But the thing that's fascinating about it is the women that are doing these, they're documenting every day. And when you look at the photos of the first 2 or 3 days of recovery, it is the most frightening image. because there's obviously all these little slits around your eyes, an area that you would think is so sensitive. But it works. Then you look at the before versus the after, and you're like, oh my God, they look 10 years younger.
It's crazy. It's like super black and blue. It looks like you got two black eyes, and then, yeah, it's just
wild. Some of us are naturally beautiful like Dan, and some of us have to go get slits in our eyelids.
It's true.
I would like for the video team to find whatever video they can of me, young or old, because you guys think you're hurting me in some way by telling me I've been ugly or am ugly or my face is bloated.
Just alluded to that.
Or I only have nice eyelids.
We're comparing two hot guys to each other, Dan.
You know what?
Chris Penn?
You are saying, look, you don't understand quite how egregious this insult is, okay? So Dianna, I'm going to frame it for you this way because they're not experiencing this the way I am. I've been trying to hide my fat in front of people for 20 years, and I've failed because this show does very well at making fun of my fat. Do you know who Chris Penn is, Dianna?
That's Oliver Platt.
That's Oliver Platt. Close.
It's easy to get the two mixed up.
Yeah, y'all are being disrespectful, man.
It's an unfortunate image,
disrespectful
too.
So-and-sos.
That feels almost intentional.
Honestly, this is better than Chris Penn, though.
Yeah.
No way.
As in more accurate. But all right,
Well,
put up
because
Chris Penn now, guys.
The eyebrows are a little closer on Platt.
Is that doppelganger?
Don't say that, Dianna.
You're making it worse.
You think I am Oliver Platt's doppelganger? Okay, look.
No.
I would like for you guys.
Whopper gang.
Guys.
Oh, God. No, that's Chris Penn.
No.
Oh, you don't like that
First
one?
of all.
Okay.
I mean, that chin looks like he has a +1 to whatever event he's going to there. There's a lot going on there. You don't have a chin like that.
Rest in peace.
Okay,
He's
listen,
been dead for 20 years.
Dianna, lest you think they're being cruel to me, okay? The way this started was...
Not Robbie Coltrane.
Come on. Hold on.
Oh, what are we doing now?
We're just throwing up fat people at this
Hold on.
Look,
Can I see him clean shaven?
Guys, let me explain something to you. There is simply nothing you can put on that screen that I have not already been lashed with, so have at it. Just let me get through the part of the show where I'm explaining to Dianna the incredible cruelty she's walking into, and I want her to have it and be able to play with it. You're coming into a situation, Dianna, where they have accused me of looking older than someone that they're accusing of having early onset Paterno.
There's Hagrid without the beard.
Come on.
None of the baggage associated with Paterno, just like the physical
We have
appearance.
compared him to two different deceased people.
Paterno was an 80-year-old coach my entire lifetime. He was an old man my entire lifetime. They're saying I am older than someone with early onset Paterno. But that's not the worst of it. The worst of it is they have said that I look worse than Chris Penn. They say I look like Chris Penn died, which he did, and then got sicker.
Oh, come on. Now we're just putting up any fat
Fluffy.
person.
Now we're putting up the comedian
man.
Fluffy.
Dan, you
Got
don't
good
look.
skin.
Hey, he does have
look
good
like
skin.
But that's also touched up.
Yeah, that's a Photoshop right there.
Well, touch me up.
Well,
Phrasing?
It's an HR issue.
We should try to see what Dan would look like with the filter. Like just a light. Jess, you know the ones we use on Instagram and their stories. They're just like these very light skin smoothing filters. I think it would be
I don't use
game-changing.
them, but yeah, it's okay that you use them.
Jess, you're just all natural on social. You just lean into this is me, accept me, all the flaws with it.
Yeah. You don't do that. I mean, there's no filter on those biceps, Dianna.
yeah.
Well, it's called You're Naturally Beautiful, and everyone knows that, and it's frustrating. But some of us who are older, a lot older than you, Jess, we have to, make ourselves feel a little bit better. So you slap that filter on.
Oh, no.
But for Dan, like, first of all, I don't know why you guys. I think the problem is Dan's always been the oldest person on the show. So to everyone that works with him, he probably feels like he's 60, but he's just been doing it so long.
Why did
Dan,
they-
I don't. Dan, how old are you?
They put up two photos of Dan just now.
I mean, he's almost 60.
I'm 56, but I've got early onset Paterno, and I look sicker than a dead Chris Penn.
You look good. And also, like, you being sad doesn't do great for your lines. So I have a question for Dianna that's that's a football-related question. You're a mother. Are you putting your kids to bed before Ravens Bills like the rest of us responsible parents? Because no child should see what's going to happen at Orchard Park. This is one of the biggest games of all time.
I agree. We're actually having a major problem in this house because I am covering the Rams-Eagles game in Philadelphia. And as you guys know, my husband's family's season ticket holders. So he's attending the game as well. And we don't have childcare at this moment. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to leave New Jersey to go to Philadelphia so I can do my job and he can attend. And I would think you guys would understand that. Don't you think that I should have the priority because it's my job to attend the game, to cover it as a journalist? He's making the argument that his family's had season tickets since 1974. And that while he understands it's my job to be there, he thinks that he should have the edge this weekend in case we don't have the childcare. In fact, I would actually like your answer because someone needs to solve the problem here, unless, Michael, you want to take over and watch Mikey and Joey for me.
Well, Dianna, I have a question, first of all. Without getting too personal, how old is your husband? Was he alive in 1974?
Kev is 39, so no.
So they had a strong, decade of doing this without him. They'll be fine.
His family is fine without him.
We
live 2 hours away. They are surviving.
You should not have to justify anything beyond I'm working. I bring in money for this.
Oh, well, but hold on a second. Yeah, I would just ask Dianna this genuinely. Does your husband, you've called him an Eagles fan zealot, and I don't know where Eagles fans are this week on I'd like to waive A.J. Brown and fire Sirianni. But wherever the emotions of that reside among adult children that you run around, your husband included, you chase the other two, and I'm sure he's a bit of an infant too, and I don't know him. I don't have to know him if you told me that you dated a bunch of the Tommy DeVito's agents. Does your husband have any earthly idea how hard your job and your journey actually is? Like, does he have any capable understanding of how hard it is to be you in the insider game, or does he have no understanding of that?
He has complete understanding, which is why this is such a buffoon response from him to say that he should be at the game, because he gets it. He lives this with me. I've told you guys about it. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without Kevin because he comprehends the NFL landscape so well, and he understands the competitive nature to it. And he understands the importance of me being there for the Athletic to cover a really big game. But he doesn't have the ability to separate and maybe even a little bit of the maturity to go, oh, wait, this is my wife's job. I am he thinks he's part of it. I think he thinks A.J. Brown is his brother. He thinks Nick Sirianni is like Uncle Nick. We're not the Eagles. We support them. We cheer for them. I have to go cover them for this.
Yeah.
Wow,
you can't do that though, because he's got a great job too. But I've tried that. I'll point to things, or the roof, or I point to the watch I got him for Christmas, or the nice new sneakers I bought him. But he contributes too. He's not a stay-at-home dad, so I don't have a lot of argument here.
But Dianna, you have a very strong argument. They've been season ticket holders since '74. That means there was a strong decade where they did this without your participation, sir.
Going back to this, huh?
Yes, absolutely.
He thinks he's making a great point.
You don't think you
let him cook?
No, but look at how he leans in his seat. I got here late and I'm cooking now, baby.
Let him cook.
Well, no, listen to me. I'm going to make the point again. You guys might not have heard it. It's not that a show that doesn't listen is unimpressed by your point. I'm going to make it again.
I'm hanging on every word.
I can't tell whether you're not listening or you're not impressed by the point. Which one is it?
It's on him. So either way, whatever you decide, your kids cannot be awake for this Ravens-Bills game. No child should see that. That's going to be ultra-violent. I'm being told that the weather is going to be bad, which I think lends itself to more drama and more narrative building around these quarterbacks who are the two leading contenders for MVP. Is this indeed one of the biggest playoff games of our lifetimes?
Yeah, I said it the other day on Scoop City on the podcast, and I had people react crazy, like I was overstating what this game means and what it will be. Everyone obviously pointing to the Chiefs-Bills game, and with the 13 seconds, and we all know how that turned out. And that was a tremendous game. I remember watching it, and I didn't get that assignment when I was at ESPN. I think I had like Titans Bengals, and Sal Palantonio got that game. And he's on the field chasing after Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes after the Chiefs won that game in incredible drama and fashion. But I think for this one, the reason why I think it is what it is obviously the conversation we've had all year about the, sizing up Lamar Jackson to Josh Allen and who's the better quarterback, all of that, on top of the fact that they're playing the best football of any other team right now. They are playing at the height of what they've done all year. They're rested, they're healthy. On top of the fact that I like that there's a little bit of nerves in this. Lamar Jackson
hit her with it again.
He gets a little
hit her with it
uptight.
again. Hit her with it again.
In playoffs, so I'm
you got to respect
how
that.
the Bills are going to handle it.
Stop for a second, Diana. I'm sorry. We've got breaking news. We're betraying the Miami Heat. We are. They say we have an embargo. We do not have an embargo. We are not bought and paid for by the Miami Heat. Jeremy, what is your breaking news? Hurry up.
Dan, the original Miami Vice jerseys are back!
You got to be kidding me.
They're wearing that this season?
They debut on Friday against the Nuggets.
Dianna Russini.
Huge deal.
Does an incredible job of covering this sport. She comes on with us regularly to make us, a bunch of dumbasses, smarter about the sport that we claim to like more than any other. And we break her analysis.
Why is Jimmy Butler on the graphic?
To let everybody know about a fashion choice?
No, not just any fashion choice. These were the most popular City Edition uniforms in the history of the NBA. I think they sold more than any out of all the ones that they've done. And it really changed the course of basketball uniforms entirely and across all of sport. Because of the popularity of this jersey, all the teams started doing Vice, especially in Europe, and they were all hot sellers. Guys, this is a welcome bit of good news for this franchise.
And the Heat really pushed to bring these back. This is not like in conjunction with a bunch of other teams dropping jerseys. This was the Heat pushing for a long time to bring
Two
this
City
back.
Editions. What do you think of that, Diana?
I think that was a really good move because it gave me a chance to catch up on some stuff. I have 15 missed text messages, including some coaching stuff. So thank you.
Yeah,
this
we're
was
wasting.
good. I'm excited.
Right,
these jerseys are going to be hot.
Yeah, Diana, I'm sorry.
Good.
This is disrespectful to you. All of it is. And Jeremy, we're a marketing arm now for this team. It's disgusting. Like, what do I put him on? Here, let me see. Hold on just a second. That thing just.
Major penalty on the ice. 5 minutes for spreading propaganda. When did we get that one?
Oh, it's personalized.
And also.
Major penalty, 5 minutes, high sticking.
Diana, respect your sport. The size of this game in America's most popular sport, it feels like on merit. It kind of feels like, it feels like we're going to all watch the Super Bowl. We're going to watch the Super Bowl before they play the Super Bowl if we're just talking about, I know these teams merit being the best team.
And she was trying to make comparisons to that Bills Chiefs game. That established a narrative for the Buffalo Bills that has always kind of lingered. This team, famous losers in the Super Bowl, and that was an incredible game. But we do a lot of reverse engineering around the myth around that game. We remember it as great because it ended up being great. But the storylines entering that, where you essentially, it's like a game of Highlander. There can be only one. You have two franchises simultaneously having the same narrative around it. You got to win the big game. You got to go through Patrick Mahomes. They're fighting for the right to seemingly do that unless Houston shocks the world. So the narratives around this are aplenty, and you have the two leading candidates for MVP. I really can't fathom, especially in that primetime window on CBS. This is the biggest divisional game of my lifetime.
Stugotz here. I want to tell you a story. I'm serious here. My wife and my two daughters, they begged me to buy a Peloton. So I bought a Peloton. And then I watched that Peloton sit in my office and stare at me. So you know what I did one day? I looked at it. And so I decided to get off my ass and I jumped on the Peloton because no one else was using it and I paid for it. I mean, so why not? Then I realized eventually that they bought it for me. And I got to tell you, way more challenging than I could have ever imagined. Peloton coaches are walking the walk. I love the coaches. I do the Grateful Dead one. It's fantastic. They have a sub 3-hour marathon runner, military trained athletes, a former college basketball player, and so many other well-rounded coaches on their team. All this experience really shows in their classes, which are never short of challenging, especially for me. So I jumped on it that first time. It was challenging, more challenging than I thought. And then I wanted to beat the bike, and so I kept jumping on it. And I absolutely love it. I mean, I'm the only one who uses it. But again, they got it for me. I mean, I had no idea. That's a little passive-aggressive, don't you think? Find your push, find your power with Peloton at onepeloton.com.
Just saying the year 2025 already makes me feel like I'm living in the future, but I think a lot of us all around this country are questioning the future of our individual business, but what does the future hold for business? If you ask 9 different experts, you'll probably get 10 different answers. Bull market, bear market, inflation up, inflation down. Could someone just please invent a crystal ball? Until that day comes, over 41,000 businesses have already future-proofed themselves with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP. NetSuite seamlessly integrates accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one powerful platform. And thanks to real-time insights and forecasting, you're not just guessing, you're acting on actionable data. Close your books in days, not weeks, and spend more time looking ahead. Whether your company earns millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you meet today's challenges and seize tomorrow's opportunities. Speaking of opportunity, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/DLB. The guide is free to you at netsuite.com/DLB. netsuite.com/DLB.
You know that sound. It's the sound of money hitting your Venmo account, a friend paying you back, or maybe it's getting cash back from your favorite business when you pay with the Venmo debit card, or it's realizing you can pay with Venmo at checkout at thousands of brands. Now, there are so many more ways to answer the question, what's your Venmo? Download Venmo today. The Venmo MasterCard is issued by the Bancorp Bank N.A. pursuant to license by MasterCard International Incorporated. Dosh Cashback terms apply.
Don Le Batard.
The judge coach, sweetie.
Stugotz.
I should go say hello.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugotz.
Dianna, can you put it in the historic context as well of this, which is, for 20 years, this sport became this popular because being atop the AFC East was where the Patriots could live, getting byes every year, winning championships, doing what Kansas City is doing now before Kansas City did it, which is, the best one only gets one of those to me. I'm getting a bye and I'm going to play a team in the next round. I'm not going to have to go through both Baltimore and the Bills. The Bills go 17 years without winning a playoff game. They get Josh Allen. They're at the top of the sport. He's playing the MVP, an organization that it can be argued is, if not one of the best 3 in all of sports the last 20 years. The Ravens are an organization that births excellence, and they'd be something closer to the Patriots if not for the Patriots existing, because that team has been that good for that long. This game and the history of the league and the stakes, what is it? When Mike says it's the biggest one ever, do you say, no, it's bigger than that?
No, I think Mike said his lifetime, which I say the last 10 years. I can't speak to, I don't know what was at stake 30 years ago. But for my time covering the NFL, this is without a doubt one of the biggest games. I hate ranking it and rating it, and because here's the thing, I had no idea the Bills were going to be this good this year. I was the one yelling and screaming on the show in the summer, going, guys, this is rebuild time for the Bills. This is not a team that has any star players and good options on offense. I don't know how this is going to work. Stephon Diggs gets shipped to the Houston Texans. I can't name the other receivers that I think could actually make a difference. And then we figure out that, oh, wait, they don't actually need any superstars because they've got the guy. They've got Josh Allen, who's figured out ways to win every single game and has grown and improved this entire season. I think that's one of the bigger storylines headed into this. The mistakes we've seen Josh Allen make in the past, he doesn't make those anymore. He doesn't.
Well,
and he's cleaned that up.
Dianna, you say that's cleaned that up. I didn't know that was a thing that people could do. I've seen it in my lifetime with Tiki Barber. He went from fumbling to not fumbling. But for Josh Allen to go as an evolution at the position, like when I say the evolution of the position, quarterbacks who can move, throw, do both things, be a running back, throw the ball, to see him become a player who is that team turns the ball over historically less than any team. Like they're not only not reckless anymore, that's a team that is as good as it is and has eliminated all the Bills' stench precisely because Josh Allen doesn't give the football away anymore.
That used to be the knock on him. When I would talk to defensive coordinators before their games, especially the big ones, I can remember specifically with Cincinnati, it was kind of, let's just wait to see if he makes a mistake. Let's see him throw the ball away and let's take advantage of it. Let's take advantage of, especially in the red zone. And they can't do that anymore. They can't do it because it's not happening. And I can tell you the Ravens defense already is going to have their hands full with this offensive line in Buffalo because they're another unit I think that's been underrated a bit or at least overlooked at times. As we saw them handle the Broncos front with ease last week.
They're also really deep too. They've suffered injuries, especially in that game. They suffered a big injury. Number 70, I forget his name for the moment, but he was dominating. Went out of that game. That was, as you mentioned, one of the best D lines in the league, one of the best defensive fronts. And this, I think, what have they allowed? Just 14 sacks on the season for Josh Allen, who leans on his mobility and his athleticism, can hold on to the ball a little bit longer to make plays. That's an insane number for sacks surrendered.
I was talking to someone in Buffalo right before I hopped on with you guys. And we were just having broad stroke conversation about keys to the game. What are you guys thinking about? And it's just so funny how the simplicity of some of this can be. I know we could spend an hour deep diving into the X's and O's of what the difference will be, but his answer was just slow down Lamar, because at the end of the day, that is going to be the difference. Can the Buffalo defense figure out a way to slow down Lamar? Because, there's that guy, Derrick Henry, in the backfield now, too, that they've got to worry about. And it's no longer entirely on the quarterback. And that's the edge the Ravens have now. Even though we've seen in years past, teams have struggled stopping Lamar, too. But now they got to worry about both these guys, on top of the fact that Todd Monken's done a really good job with this offense outside the run game. There's obviously options in the passing game. So I do like this time of year where you want these answers of the smallest of details. But I think that's also what adds to how awesome this game is going to be is it going to be Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson? Who's going to play better? And that's going to be the answer to who wins this game.
Someone just tweeted this one at me. I'm not sure who this actor is or if this is offensive in some way, but I guess the
That's a dude from Rounders. That was a dude that was trying to collect from Ed Norton in Rounders.
Are you sure that's him? I know Rounders pretty well. That doesn't look like
I'm pretty sure that's a dude from Rounders, man. I just saw Rounders, dude.
Is there a guy, an actor, someone famous, Dan, that people have said you look like that maybe you don't see, but you lean into it?
Robert Pastorelli. That's his name.
I don't.
Flounder is the answer to your question.
Yes. Well, that's the first one I got. So I arrive on television and I'm fat. And Tony and Mike are very popular on Pardon the Interruption, and it's a groundbreaking show, and they hate me. Everybody hates me because they want Tony and Mike. So I'm the fat guy who replaces Tony and Mike. And so what I get immediately is an assortment. It was my first introduction to people shaming me physically this way. I mean, obviously they did it throughout my childhood, but
I was indignant about Rounders, and I was wrong.
I noticed.
I just watched Rounders, dude.
Mike, do you realize how often you're indignantly wrong? No?
It's occasional, but memorable.
No, it's all
That's
the time.
why. No, it just sticks out because it's such a rarity.
We got super bogged down in here. He's like, no, Google him in Rounders.
You're kidding. I don't know my executive producer at all. No, I need to be right here. Yes, I need to be right about Rounders. Let's interrupt everything so I can be right about Rounders.
He was wrong about Al Golden,
We'll try
too.
a different search.
Don't trust Dan at all that he's talking about his face being rounder. Don't trust him to use that as material. Need to be right about Rounders. Dianna, I've been getting Flounder from Animal House. It was my introduction to learning. I looked like Flounder from Animal House. I believe the people. They said it so often. I must look like Flounder from Animal House. But I did not think I looked like Flounder from Animal House. My self-appraisal was pretty bad. It was not that bad. It was not, I look like a comically fat goofball in a movie that's made fun of by everybody.
But is there someone that you think you look like, or maybe someone has suggested it that you don't necessarily see, but you want to take it? Like for example, someone once said I look like Sloane from Entourage. I don't look like Sloane from Entourage, but guess what I'm going to tell people I look like? Sloane from Entourage, right? Like, you take that. You go, okay, I don't see it, but if you do, okay. Who's that for you?
I have to think about this for a moment. Amin is very eager to tell me who that is for me.
No, I'm just saying that's a dangerous.
See, I don't look like her. Damn it!
But also,
take that off the screen.
Diane, that's a dangerous game you're playing, because then you might end up, not you specifically, but someone who follows that advice might end up like the girl from Love is Blind who kept saying, I look like Megan Fox. When people tell me I look like Megan Fox.
Dangerous game.
It's the most dangerous game.
Dangerous game. I get Sandra Bullock too. Dangerous game, right? Like, I'm better off going Snooki. I look like Snooki. Although she's very pretty too. That's a bad one.
She's short also. You're not that short.
Yeah,
Don't tell me
I'm taller. People always think I'm short. I'm tall for a woman.
I'm not comfortable with all of this objectifying we're doing in every realm today. I would like to start a segment where Dianna points to things in her house with her biceps showing while she wears Eagles green and
But
claims,
you don't like objectifying.
claims
the beach.
Claims
Weird
to be.
back-to-back
thing is,
sentences.
I mean, I'm doing it right.
When she claims to be objective and comes on here supporting Eagles green, I want to go through some fast football topics with you, and not to make you compete against Mina Kimes, but I was legitimately stunned that when we hit Mina Kimes with this music for a long time, it rattles her, and she can be rattled. She'll walk in the wrong place on a TV set and trying to process all the information in her head, which is tons about football, and give it to you clean and crisp because she's got 7 minutes of material, but we're asking her to give us 25 seconds. Are you ready for the challenge of doing this with a number of names? There's a lot of news and a lot of fame around the news.
Yes, and I'm aware. Mina and I have had this conversation, so I'm ready to take her down.
Okay, 20 to 30 seconds at a time on each topic. We've got a ton of them for you. Tom Brady
has all the power in Las Vegas. He's going to be the one to make a decision. He's got to have a tremendous influence on that organization. We can debate whether or not we think that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'd say it's a good thing because that guy knows how to win. So I think the culture in Vegas is about to change big time.
So you're reporting that he's going to probably, it's up to him, but he's probably going, if you had to guess, you think he's going to leave $300 million in broadcasting to go run the Raiders?
Oh, I don't know if he's going to lead broadcasting. I just know he's going to have a very, very heavy influence and say on what they do in Vegas. I don't necessarily think Tom Brady's going to be walking around the facility every day. I could see him probably keeping his home in Florida because his kids are still young. He wants to be around them. The whole father stuff is important to him. But I do know that there's a lot of Tom Brady-ness that is going to be part of the Las Vegas Raiders, and they want it that way, Mark Davis especially.
Yeah, the father stuff is important.
The whole father stuff.
Has in the history of broadcasting, there been a dude calling a game of someone he's actively trying to hire?
I don't think so, because we've never had an owner in the booth. Have we ever had an owner?
No.
Right?
No, like this is a very peculiar setup this weekend. For like, it's pretty.
Does it bother you? Like
No.
I see that it doesn't bother me.
It bothers me.
That setup doesn't bother me, but I am bothered by the lack of pre-production access that Tom Brady is allowed to have.
Who is bothered?
But I think he could, Look, there's been a lot of discourse online about his ability to do this or his inability to do this, and when a giant thing is not available to him in terms of pre-production, you kind of wonder, like, well, maybe we shouldn't do this because he's certainly not improving without that access.
Look, I think the access is obviously important, but I've been told by teams, actually I recently had this conversation, the best crews need the least amount of time in those pre-production meetings. The most prepared are usually the best, and they don't need to sit there and talk with Sean McDermott about what they're going to do on defense because they usually know because they've watched enough and studied it enough. So yeah, do I think it's hurting Tom Brady that he's not getting as much intel as he could possibly get? But he's Tom Brady. He should be able to know, see, and
Faster.
He's being asked to do things that you're being asked to do as a player, which is identify things, which is why it just goes to show you how difficult television can be because he knows more than anybody.
Faster.
Yeah, it's so hard to communicate and articulate it in a very short window, which is what you're asking me to do, which is why I'm struggling right now because it is hard.
Dianna, we've wasted 20 minutes of this interview. We haven't mentioned Deion Sanders or the Cowboys one time. Give me something.
I think it's all smoke. I think a conversation happened. Everyone's kind of wink-winking this thing. I don't think the Dallas Cowboys had a plan. I think they thought this would work out with Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy's like, nah, I'm good. This isn't what I want in terms of a contract. He walks. Jerry's left going, all right, I got to go find a head coach. This is the Dallas Cowboys, though. Every single person in America that coaches football wants an opportunity to coach for the Dallas Cowboys. So starts making some phone calls, which is what he's been doing the last few days, and he's reaching out to people. And I think Deion Sanders is someone he reached out to. I just don't think that Deion Sanders is going to be at the top of the list at the end of the day. Once the Dallas Cowboys start these interviews, Robert Saleh, the former Jets head coach, he's going to be meeting with Dallas over the weekend. He's the first official interview, as well as Leslie Frazier. He's going to get an opportunity as well.
Dianna, correct me if I have any of this wrong, but the way that you phrased that, I was not familiar with the details, that McCarthy wasn't so much fired as offered a contract that was insulting or that he couldn't take. So if you're making that as a detail, are you telling me, oh no, Jerry Jones is telling everybody, I'm going to be in control of the coach. I'm not going to pay a coach a lot of money to coach the Cowboys. I'm going to pay them in power. They're going to have the blessing of being able to be somebody who coaches the Cowboys.
Yes. So from what I understand, they never got to that like deep negotiation window. They just had enough conversation about what the future was going to be that they realized, yeah, this is not going to work. On top of the fact that it didn't hurt that Mike McCarthy had interest from the Chicago Bears and the New Orleans Saints sitting there. But I think for Jerry, I think Dallas fans are sweating this more than Jerry is, from what I understand. I think he feels very good that he's going to be able to get whichever coach it is that he wants. There's a little chatter about Jason Witten out there.
Faster.
We got to speed this up.
Coach in waiting is what I heard.
We got to speed this up.
But then it fell apart because McCarthy got fired, right?
Yeah, so Jerry's always loved Jason Witten. He's always wanted him to be part of the Dallas Cowboys at some point, at some extent. So I don't necessarily believe that he's going to be named the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys, but I do think it's a name that we got to watch over the next few weeks to see if he would be part of a coaching staff.
Titans general manager
Rand Carthon was fired last week. Right now they're looking for somebody new to step in here. They've interviewed over 12 different candidates. They called back about 8 for the second interview. Mike Berganzi, he's the Chiefs' assistant general manager. He was the most recent one to come back for that second interview.
Marcus Freeman.
At the end of the day,
Marcus Freeman,
happy at Notre Dame. He's had opportunities in the past before. He seems like somebody that doesn't really want to make that jump yet. He's got that patience, unlike we've seen other college coaches. I think he wants to stay.
Russell Wilson
wants to be back in Pittsburgh. He's working out, ready to go. I don't necessarily believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are going to go 100%. Yes, Russell Wilson's going to come back. I think they're going to take the next few weeks to make a decision on what they want to do.
Mike Tomlin
is staying in Pittsburgh. There's definitely teams that are all watching that, but for him, Pittsburgh's not going to move on from Mike Tomlin.
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers, I think the new head coach and GM are going to make that decision. Woody is sticking to his word. He's going to let those coaches and GM make that decision, but I have a hard time believing he's going to be in a New York Jet uniform next season.
Teenagers running the Jets.
True. Rick and Jack are the sons of Woody Johnson. They have influence. They talk to their father. They want to run the Jets eventually at some point in their lives. Woody Johnson
Mike
wants them
Vrabel.
around.
Mike Vrabel.
The head coach of the New England Patriots, they just went from being a franchise that has zero direction to having a full identity. I expect them to compete with the Buffalo Bills next season. It's the best move Robert Kraft could have made after obviously making a bad decision in hiring Gerard Mayo, despite the fact that his intentions were good. Mayo wasn't ready for the job. Mike Vrabel's ready to take this thing and try to get another Super Bowl for the New England Patriots.
I'm sorry I did all that to you.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to hear the rest of that Jets answer too.
I want to hear the rest of that Jets answer, and I blew it.
Did I beat Mina?
No, well,
You spent
but it was my fault. She got better help from me. I ruined you at the end. It's my fault,
Wait,
not yours.
I did not fall on my words once. The only reason why I stopped was just because I was talking and I couldn't hear your next question. I could have been even faster. I flew through that.
Yes.
At the end. But the first couple of questions we gave you in the speed round, you took your sweet time.
You didn't give me the music.
The music was playing the
If
whole
you gave me the music, I would have sped up.
We'll do better next week. Listen, Diana, you've gotten great at all of this. I think you know this. Diana, surely you know this.
I am trying to get the Netflix job. How am I going to get the Netflix job if I'm not winning in this round?
You got to say Netflix correctly when you're under pressure.
The Hamari.
Thank you, Diana. I appreciate it. I feel a lot of this was greatly unfair, but I have to admit to something. I did a moment during all of that introspection, self-reflection. I was just lashing out at Jessica because she's been mocking the way that I look, and I didn't realize I was doing it because she pressed on what has been an eternal shame my entire life, since I was a boy, since I was an insecure little fat boy in phys ed.
All I said, check the tape, Al Golden looks younger than you. That's all I said.
I've always thought Dan was handsome. I remember the first time I met him, I was like, he's a good-looking guy.
I never said he wasn't handsome.
wow.
I never
That's
said you
very
were
nice.
fat. I never said anything.
He's fishing for compliments, guys.
You're right. You're right. You're right.
Don't
You're right.
Just stand your ground.
And he's eating that fish.
I
Pride.
dated a guy that looked like him.
Who, Dan or the guy on the
You
screen?
dated John Favreau?
Flounder.
John Favreau.
Rudy.
I wish he was as charming as that guy, but he wasn't.
It's weird that there's two famous John Favreaus, right?
It is.
Is the other one famous? Is he
Yeah.
just he's famous for having the same name? That's not famous.
I mean,
Well, we know who he is. I think that counts.
I don't think he's famous for the name. There's plenty of John Favreaus out there.
No,
that
but I was
aren't
so
famous.
confused when I found out that the other John Favreau wasn't the John Favreau I was thinking of.
There's also two John Krasinskis.
What?
Yeah, one of them works for The Athletic. Covers Minnesota sports.
You got to change your name, pal.
No.
I think so.
No, like it's an Office Space situation. He should change his name.
Michael Bolton.
Michael, there you go. She gets it.
She's still with us. Okay,
While texting.
we thought we were. What news do you have on your phone right now, Diana? Your life is crazy.
You want to hear something
Yes.
funny? Someone just texted me about the Brady stuff with broadcasting and ownership. So I got to go work on this, but
See, other people care
interesting.
too.
Diana, please tell, honestly, what your day is like. How much news will come over that phone, legitimately breakable news, in the next 30 minutes?
It's not breakable. It's usually just details of stuff that's happening. That's usually what I'm working on, is just getting little nuggets all day long.
Okay, thank you for the compliment I forced out of you. I'm sorry that there was so much objectification in that. I don't like being compared secretly to Flounder from Animal House, and I've been trying to keep that in disguise that it doesn't hurt for 20 years.
Speaking of Nuggets, Vice uniforms back tomorrow against the Nuggets, huh?
This guy.
It's been
gonna be
10
great.
minutes already.
And what it really did. The time really did fly, didn't it? Because he wasn't here.
Love you too.
Just saying the year 2025 already makes me feel like I'm living in the future, but I think a lot of us all around this country are questioning the future of our individual business, but what does the future hold for business? If you ask 9 different experts, you'll probably get 10 different answers. Bull market, bear market, inflation up, inflation down. Could someone just please invent a crystal ball? Until that day comes, over 41,000 businesses have already future-proofed themselves with NetSuite by Oracle, the #1 cloud ERP. NetSuite seamlessly integrates accounting, financial management, inventory, and HR into one powerful platform. And thanks to real-time insights and forecasting, you're not just guessing, you're acting on actionable data. Close your books in days, not weeks, and spend more time looking ahead. Whether your company earns millions or even hundreds of millions, NetSuite helps you meet today's challenges and seize tomorrow's opportunities. Speaking of opportunity, download the CFO's Guide to AI and Machine Learning at netsuite.com/DLB. The guide is free to you at netsuite.com/DLB. netsuite.com/DLB.
All set for your flight?
Yep, I've got everything I need. Eye mask, neck pillow, T-Mobile, headphones.
Wait, T-Mobile?
You bet. Free in-flight Wi-Fi. 15% off all Hilton brands. I never go anywhere without T-Mobile. Same goes from a water bottle, chewing gum, nail clippers,
okay,
passport.
I'm gonna leave you to it.
Find out how you can experience travel better at T-Mobile.com/travel.
Qualifying plan required. Wi-Fi were available on select U.S. airlines. Deposit and Hilton Honors membership required for 15% discount. Terms and conditions apply.